Hey again YouTube, Nudjob with Machete back with another knife review for you. What I've got here is the SCH111, which is the little brother of the Shasta McNasty, or as I called mine, Gekkoatan. And it's also from Josh Waggoner, and I did do the same thing with this that I did with the SCH112. By the way, if you guys haven't seen the review of the SCH112, I'll put a link to it right here, and you can take a gander at that and see what kind of damage it did. But for the SCH111, I had a chance to talk with Josh again, and he gave me some tips and a little bit of insight on it, as well as a little bit information, a secret to share with you guys. So let's take a gander at it. And what Schrade does is it gives you the knife, the sheath, a ball chain, as well as some paracord. And what some people are thinking is that you replace the ball chain with the paracord. Talked to Josh, and that's not actually what the paracord was for. He asked Schrade to include the paracord so that you could wrap the skeletonized handle. Now admittedly it has a really nice skeletonized handle, but he got the idea off the SE Izula, which has that nice little skeletonized handle with a little ring at the end. And yeah, it's a nice looking knife. Well, this is also a nice looking knife, and you can wrap the paracord around the handle. Now admittedly, I kind of suck at paracord wrapping handles. I couldn't get a wrap on it that felt really good to me. So what I've done is I've wrapped it up with some of that Yonex tennis racket wrap that I use on most of my knives and machetes. So I'll show you what it looks like, and I'll see if I can put a picture of the original skeletonized look in, say, right about now. And what I've done, as you can see, I've wrapped the handle in the Yonex wrap, and I've given it a pretty decent swell. And you'll see why I did that in a second. Now, Josh designed this not really as a neck knife, he says. It's admittedly, the sheath is a bit big for what I would like a neck knife to have, but you can still use it as a neck knife. I apologize if I hit my microphone, guys. And it works just fine, and you can get the knife out pretty easily. Or you can do, you can put straps on it, and you could also do it as a very small, mostly concealable belt knife. Or of course you could always just carry it in your pocket if you wanted it, something like that. I love it as a neck knife. As you saw, you just wear it one direction, pull it down, and it flips out into the underhand normal Karambit grip. I'm not too fussed about the sheath. It's molded plastic. There was a little bit of play, a little bit of rattle in it, but now that I've wrapped it up with this, I find that there really isn't any. It's got good retention. I mean, knife's not coming out, and it doesn't take much to get the knife out once you actually decide to draw it. The knife itself, well, I mean, the knife itself is smaller Karambit, single-edged, but it does have, let's take a look at the design of it. I love this almost talon design. One of the awesome things is it does give you a chance, if you wanted to do an overhand and put your thumb at the top to get power, say you open packages or something like that, it does let you do that. There's also a little bit, almost like a mini thumb ramp there, if you just wanted to put your thumb there for attacks, draw cuts, stuff like that. Holding it in the Karambit style grip, if you want it to do a lot of damage, and this is a tip from Josh, hold it so that when you lay it flat, the ring and the tip lay flat on a, say a table or something like that, and your knuckles don't actually touch, and this will do more damage. Speaking of damage, why don't we go take a look at the damage that this thing did, and then we'll come back. So I mean, obviously it's not quite as devastating as, say, Shasta McNasty was, but if you look at the knives in general size comparison, I would say the damage is comparable. This thing, yeah, okay, chopped right through the pork loin, and yeah, ripped it in half. This thing, much, much smaller, still did some impressive damage in the slashes. And even on that ballistics gelatin, now I've adjusted the recipe of the ballistics gelatin a little bit. I noticed it was a little weak, so this is a little bit more of a dense ballistics gelatin. And even just those little flicks that I was doing ripped portions of that ballistics gel apart. So it is pretty damn damaging. You do give up a little bit of damage for concealability. Josh admits that, you know, that's one of the drawbacks of a smaller Karambit. I do like it because it is really tiny and it's almost hard to track when you do damage with it. But it's still going to be damaging as hell. Let's take a look at how sharp this thing is, besides the damage it did to the pork. Piece of paper. Now, admittedly, the blade is curved, so of course every time I draw I'm going to get a tear, but it is still really damn sharp. It's always fun to do that. I'm not quite as scared of this one as I was of the big guy, because, you know, it's probably going to just hit my thumb, which I'll admit I have done. I sharpened it up and gave myself a little line on the thumb. So this one I'm not quite as scared, flipping it back and forth. Some people, if you've got meat hooks for hands, like I got fairly large hands, if you have meat hooks, you might not be comfortable holding this thing. This is how I hold it. Almost in whatever they call it, a fist strike position. And the reason I hold it like this is to get my fingers all on the grip and to give me control for when I want to actually slash with it. But you can see if I go down to a full grip, what most people are used to, then my finger's pretty damn close to the blade. Once again, I don't think this is that the handle is too small. I'm fairly certain it's the design. It does force you to go into a slightly different grip. It does allow, if you do want to do a hammer fist grip, it does allow your hand to sit just comfortably off the blade. Like I said, I'm not quite as scared of this one flipping it. I did notice that one thing I do with the smaller Karambits is you can hold it by the ring and do extended slash. It's not very damaging to people. It'll cut, mostly scratch. But there was no way in hell I was doing that with this. So just one of those things. But yeah, this little thing, I have to admit, I really do like it. If you guys are interested in this, and say you're just getting into Karambits like me, Josh also makes trainers for the 111. I think he makes them in aluminum, titanium, there's a poly one. I think he might even make them in steel, I'm not sure. But you can always contact him and order them. So yeah, they're actually quite reasonably priced too. What else can I say about this thing? It's small, yeah, sure. It's smaller than the big beast of a Karambit. It's more along the lines of what I think most of us are used to. This thing is really nice, really damaging, and admittedly, it's really fun. So I gotta admit, like, the SCH111 is probably now one of my favorite little knives. The SCH112 is gonna come out to the farm with me and we're gonna test it out there, use it as a reaping hook and see what else I can use it for out there. And I might bring this thing along just to see what it'll do too. Thanks so much, guys. I mean, there's not really anything else I can say about a little beastie like this, except maybe I think I'm going to call it a little beastie. So thanks for watching this review. As always, if you like videos like this, please feel free to click like. Feel free to subscribe for videos like this in the future, and feel free to share this video as much as you want. And until next time, guys, I'm not John with a machete. Stay sharp.